Hello everyone, I'd like to give you a brief tour of my second plot, but just before I do that I'd just like you to have a quick look around my very small allotment, and you can see it's a rectangular shape with buildings at both ends with one central path down the middle, and on either side there is a size of just one whole plot. Unfortunately, most of these have been split into two because I think land this close into London is at a premium, and therefore plots such as mine are only 60 square metres, but I'm so grateful to have it. On either side, on the other side of those trees, is a kind of parkland, and on the other side is a very large park, on the other side of that hedge. And on the far side of that there are football pitches, and football's played every Saturday and Sunday morning in the winter. And some people have done their plots up beautifully and others haven't. And there are horror stories about when people first get their plots, that they're absolutely awful, full of bindweed, full of bits of metal, plastic, half bits of wheels and God knows what. This plot I missed out on. It's a whole plot, and it was really mainly grass, so this has been quite an easy one, except that the person who owns it now, or who rents it, says that the grass is so hard he can't dig it at all. And then we come slowly to my plot, and that's the one with the scaffold netting. This plot I got a few months after the last plot in August of last year, and it was a real mess. And I'm one of those people who have a good moan about the thistles and the bits of plastic, is it polypropylene or tarpaulin, which disintegrates and is in every bit of the soil. And the worst problem has been the roots of bindweed, which I'm still digging up. I've dug up every inch of this plot except for the paths, which I've got to do now, and I know the bindweed this summer went from the paths onto the plants. Well, that's what the second plot looks like now, but there are a few photographs to show you what it was like before, and the toughest part was digging up those bindweed roots, and I've still got so much more to dig up. Well, this is my new allotment, and that is what it's like. I've already started digging the edge and forming my boundaries. There's a whole lot of stuff I don't want, even more to be found, all the way round to this edge. I have to do a line later on because you can't really see the edge of the path. Gunge, more stuff, more metal stuff, more tarpaulins, bricks, wonderful weeds, wonderful bindweed, more stuff, and there's Umberto's wonderful allotment. More crud, and then two wheelie bins full of crud. I've turned one over and I can't empty it, it's too heavy to upturn completely. This is the part I've started working on. I removed a part of a tarpaulin that has torn, and this is the back end of the allotment. And then it's going up the side with my rubbish. And right to the front again. And today is the 22nd of August 2017. This is where I'll be growing the main crop onions. I'm going to grow two types. One's going to be, I'm going to grow them from seed this year, and if that fails then I'll revert to sets. And the first one is Red Baron. I'll just pan down. Red Baron is meant to be an exhibition variety. Oops, messing that one up. And is also a strong flavoured onion, large and round, and it keeps well. The other onion I got free from seed with a gardening magazine, and that's Elsa Craig, which is quite a famous one, and that's also an exhibition variety. I really don't have enough space, I think, so it may be that I can't grow them. Coming around over here are the broad beans, which again I put some protection over. Last year I didn't protect them with the netting They were tied up, well, they were tied to canes. They got quite a buffeting. Despite that, I got a very good harvest, and I've still got half a drawful of beans frozen in the freezer. I'm going to have to put sticks down soon because they're getting quite large, and I'll have to take this protection off. Coming around the corner, this nice space here is where I have already harvested and eaten those lovely leeks. I've got Mossaborough leeks here, and I got a bad case, well, they got a bad case of rust. What I did was pull the outer leaves off as much as I could, and that did help. Unfortunately, they also got allium leaf miner, but I found that if I just take a couple of outer white leaves off, then I can eat them, and they're very tasty. Over here I planted a few winter giant, and a few over there which were overshadowed by a courgette plant, so they didn't grow very well. But I haven't tasted the winter giant yet, but I really do love leeks, so I hope I can continue growing them. But the allium leaf miner, as you all know, is spreading through Britain, and it's meant to be around in March to April, and also October to November. Therefore, it should put down some kind of environ mesh over it to prevent the leeks being infected by it. But I think Vivi tried that, and she got quite a bad infestation of it. Say it properly now. So let's see what happens. This is garlic. This is some fun garlic. I know you're not meant to buy any from the store and plant it, but there was some lovely cheap garlic at Lidl, so I call this Lidl Spanish. I planted it after Provence White in my last plot, and it came up far more quickly, and it looks to be doing well, but it probably needs a lot of heat, so there's quite a chance that it won't bulb up, but we'll see how it goes. Over here on the last part of this little plot, which goes up to there, are the raspberries. I bought these in year before last and planted Morling Admiral, which is meant to be quite a vigorous plant, and all 5 of them I think have taken. I also planted Glenample. All 5 of them died, and I know that it's upsetting, it costs enough, but this November I went and bought some from a garden centre. They were 4 for £13, which I think is expensive. And I also put some mycorrhiza powder at their roots, and I'm just hoping that they're going to live. And then just a few beetroot lying around, and a few spring onions, which are actually doing very well. Then we come back to the front, and there's a few flowers there, the good old forget-me-nots, and a few daffodil shoots coming up. Well, that's everything now. Just a pretty picture of something flowering. The weather has turned and it is really freezing cold. Take care, everyone.